Welcome, 10-0 and all. This is a really basic guide video on how to get everyone started, or if you have started, where to go, because people say getting to the second dream is where everyone wants to be, and that is difficult apparently. Now, I'm saying that because it is actually very easy if you just have basic equipment. This being not this, but all the way back to our Skana, this. If you have this, you can complete the second dream. People will say that you're going to want to go for the Mark 1 bow when you start the game, or the bow, and I don't have a problem with that. I just like the swords, so I use the Skana. So, if you have the Skana, your build for the Skana is going to be is not this. You are going to use the Iron Phoenix though. But what you are going to do is you're going to be using Pressure Point. You're going to be using Fury. And you are going to be using, most likely, a 90 elemental mod. Likely Molten Impact. Now, this is just to show you that you can do this, even if you just put in, or don't even have this, this is going to be one of your better setups. It is probably going to be Molten Impact as a 90 mod. You can use Shocking Touch or Fever Strike or North Wind. It doesn't matter. But the major point is going to be your Pressure Point and your Fury. And this will take you, this exact setup will take you all the way to Tile Rigor. And you can kill him. So Tile Rigor is going to be your Titania
You must be
mission
feeling guilty.
for an
Need your
assassination.
toe.
Now that's going to get you to your Neptune Junction to unlock the second dream quest. This will allow you to do the second dream, which is where everyone says, oh my gosh, this is where the actual game begins. So, to get there, you don't need a primary or secondary, really, but they do help. As for the Warframe, I suggest you choose Mag, as I have. Most other people will give you other advice, follow it if you want to. Really, this is just a game for fun. Mag does make it easier, I will admit that, thanks to her ability, Magnetize. This pulls in bullets, and as you can see, it has an absorption multiplier of 3.3 times, so that damage is massively increased, which means it's much easier for your bullets to do damage against bosses because they will take, the first time you magnetize them, the full duration of your magnetize. So for me, it's a 14-second duration. But it will be longer for you unless you start farming corrupted mods. So this is my setup right now, and this right here is a corrupted mod. This lowers my duration, but if we are going to be going off and none of you have that, then your build is going to look a little something like this. I would go for Streamline here. This just makes it so that way you can use your abilities much more often. Flow is very much an iffy on whether or not you want that, but what you do very much want are these two mods right here. This makes it so that way Mag is fairly invincible effectively until much later in the game. Now, you only have 5 slots left. That is just enough for a fully maxed out duration for continuity. And that has 2 effects, essentially. First off is that it increases durations, obviously. So if you're having trouble killing the bosses in the first 12 seconds or whatever, this increases that to 16. It's not a whole lot. Maybe it's just a second. Actually, we can show it right here. It is just 2 seconds. But you can see that the drain went from 50 to 35 just by using one streamline. And the 16, almost 17 seconds of duration will enable you to fire off many more rounds than just the 15 seconds, especially if you're going to use something like a Braddon, which you might have at that time, or a Boltor, in case you weren't upgrading weaponry by the Foundry or something. Now you will see that our damage multiplier did go down to a 2 times rather than a 3.3. That is going to lower your damage a little bit, but especially if you're just starting out or don't have a mag with a Orokin reactor in it, this is going to be a very good build. You use Physique because that's free. I would recommend Corrosive Projection, but the way you get that is over here at the Nightwave Station. Now, every week there's going to be a group of missions, essentially, to get Nightwave standing. 3 of these will change daily, quote-unquote, about once every 3 days. And that'll start earning you standing. You're going to earn these things called Nor's Mix Volume 2 credits. These are the important parts. So the first time you go through this, each level is only 10,000 standing every time. So you're going to be able to level up a few times over the week, especially if you do all the weeklies. But you're going to be getting a lot of stuff from here. Warframe slots, weapon slots, skins, Kuva, which you don't need to worry about right now. X-List mods, Warframe adapters, Forma, an important part, and a couple of accessories. But the important thing is down here, the cred offerings. Now, this is where you'll be mostly getting your Orokin reactors, Orokin catalysts, and Nitane, which is a important build item. And then cosmetics, a lot of the cosmetics, as well as your aura mods. Now, the reason that Corrosive Projection is so important is out of most aura mods that you're going to be able to get early game, most of them don't do anything. Sure, Shield Disruption is kind of the corpus version of this, but shields aren't very important because you do full damage against them. But armor very much lowers your damage output, so getting Corrosive Projection whenever that is up is important. You won't be using it forever, but it is a much better option than most other aura mods. Now, if you are just starting out, you won't have these maxed out. So I would just drop these and focus solely on these, because the recharge shields really helps in survivability. And the redirection mag is the best person for this. You see I have almost 1,000 shield, and it only Toxin gets through. That's also where Physique helps to grant you a little bit of extra health. But you won't be going up against much Toxin damage unless you're facing the Infested, which I don't recommend you do with Mag, because most of her abilities severely underperform when against Infested. But the fast deflection will make sure you get most of these 930 shields back up very quickly. And the only time you ever really have to worry about dying is when you get to a place like Uranus. But even then, your weaponry will start to carry you at that point. Now, for weaponry, most people will tell you go for something like the Vectis. I do recommend that, but some people don't like using sniper rifles, so this is the weapon I recommend. Solely for a primary, use the Vermisplicer. I just did a full Infested build because to get the other parts from Fortuna is a little bit annoying, especially the magazine. Now, I have catalysted or put a blue potato, depending on your words, into this. This is because I like how this plays. Now, how it plays is effectively a beam weapon, but it chains to up to 3 other targets. So I hit like 4 people with this. And it has a very decent crit chance, very solid status chance, especially when I start using 60/60 mods. And it gets me viral, heat, 2 very important status effects. Armor, heat because it slightly reduces armor, and viral because it increases health damage taken by up to 325%. Now, you don't need heat damage, which means you just take out thermite rounds, and you're left with cryo rounds, but you can also take off the infected clip because the Vermisplicer comes with innate toxin damage. Which means it automatically combines with the first elemental mod to make a certain effect. For us, we put cryo rounds, so it made viral. Now, when you guild a kit gun, which is what this is, it will allow you to put in one free polarity of your choosing. We're going to choose a V polarity. These are all polarities. When you put in a mod that has the same polarity, it cuts the cost of the mod in half. So that is what we want, very much so. Now, you're only going to have 30 unless you wish to put an Orokin Catalyst in here. Most people will not. So we're going to take off both of these mods, and this would be what you're going to have. A 28-28, which is not bad for a base gun. But we obviously want to do much better. But for most people, this is what you're going to start out with. And then you'll be able to upgrade your Serration another time. So you'll get a little bit more damage than this. But Hunter Munitions, especially, is something that you do not need, considering it is a special mod that you can only get from certain events. So if you don't have it, don't worry about it. I did not place this correctly. Ah, yes, that's why. Forgot to put in my infected clip. There we go. So this is what I would recommend because it automatically chains, so you don't necessarily have to aim. And the fact that it comes with built-in viral makes it a good primer weapon. Primer weapons are weapons that inflict a lot of status effects, but don't necessarily do a lot of damage, making it easier for a second weapon to kill the enemy. Now, this isn't the weapon I use. It isn't what I would recommend you use, but it's what I have right now, because it is decent. For a kill weapon, I would recommend something like this. Now, this isn't gilded, but it does have incredibly high damage, even with only 30 mod slots, or 30 mod capacity, just by using Hornet Drake, Auger Pact, and a maxed out Convulsion. Auger Pact is a mod you can get easily from one of the first bounties that you see on Cetus, and it increases your damage by a flat 90% adding on to this, but it also comes with a nice effect of energy that you spend on abilities is converted into shields. Now what that means is that whenever you cast Pull, Magnetize, Polarize, or Crush, 40% of that energy is going to be converted directly into shields. So you're going to gain a little bit of survivability when you use this mod. So it's a very good mod to have, especially on a frame like Mag, who really relies on her shields to survive. But as you can see, this total damage is much higher than the damage of this gun until we start getting here. But this is a total damage based off of how long the enemy will sit in that gas cloud that occurs when this is fired. So we're just looking for direct damage, which would be this. So this will not be exactly your gun, for the sole fact that you will not have this loader called Killstream. You will have the chamber called Tombfinger and the grip called Haymaker when you join Fortuna and hit about rank 1 or 2, when all these kit gun parts unlock. Now, the loader Killstream is what gives this gun its high crit chance and crit damage multiplier. You won't have that, but while it is a good thing to have, it is not necessary. What we're really looking for is this high total damage that will increase when we gild it. So a damage like this is already going to be only going to be enhanced when we guild this gun. And this is something that you can pick up very early on once you hit rank 1 or 2 in Fortuna, which is easy enough to do because when you get there, the daily standing that you'll be allowed to have is somewhere around 12 or 13,000 standing. Possibly higher, probably higher. Now, when that happens, you will have to farm a little bit, but when you do, you'll be able to equip the gun immediately, which is exactly what we want. Is this the best gun? No. But what I would recommend is if you have the credits and you're about rank 5, is that you buy this. I cannot stress enough the beauty of this gun. It does 130 total damage, almost double the gun we built, but you have to get to rank 5. It's not that difficult. I, right now, am rank 7, and I did that almost solely based off of the few guns that I have gilded, and the guns that have been awarded from these junctions. Is if you just build these guns, like the Furus here, or the Taxon, and you max that out, you will have more than enough standing to get to rank 5 and get the Lex. I cannot stress the Lex enough. Now, I don't have it with me because I've spent a lot of time getting all of these guns here up and maxed out. I just have to guild these two. But it's also because I have in my foundry the Lex Prime. This is a gun that is always available, and I cannot stress this enough. Prime guns are much better than their standard versions. Not all the time, but most of them are incredibly good. And farming the Lex Prime will almost solely come from Lith Relics. Lith Relics, I don't have a whole lot right now because I was farming something specific, are very easy. They'll almost always come from lower level missions under 20. That means that when you're doing a defense mission or a survival mission or a capture mission of some kind, anywhere under 20 will probably drop a Lith Relic in its rotation rewards. If you have gotten to Phobos, you can see that this top line connects all the way here to the Void. And once you get past Teshub, you can get to something called Hepit. Hepit drops a Lith Relic every time you run it. Or if not always, it's a very high chance. So you can complete this capture mission in like 5 minutes tops. Because it's just a standard capture target and then you ignore everything else. Which means it's very quick. It gets you about 3,000 credits a run. And if you're doing this multiple times to get Lith Relics, you're going to have a lot of credits by the end of it. So now I know what you're asking. How do I get from Earth to Venus and then from Venus to Mercury so that way I can open up my Mars junction? Well, Venus is probably where most of y'all are going to hit a roadblock when going to Fossa and facing the Jackal. Once again, I'm going to tell you, rely on your melee weapon. If you have mag and you've been upgrading your defensive stats via redirection and fast deflection, you're going to have more than enough survivability to only revive maybe once, possibly twice. And that's if you're just running in it like I did. But what's even better is the fact that you just use your melee weapon. You do not need to rely on your primary or secondary, which might just be a Mark 1 Bratton and a Lado at this point. But the melee weapon is going to be your Skana, which you've been upgrading with Pressure Point and Fury. Don't add Molten Impact at this point, just focus on Pressure Point and Fury. That's going to increase your attack speed up to like a 1 or something on your Skana, and the Pressure Point's going to over double your damage. So focus on Pressure Point first, then go for Fury. At that point, your Skana will literally carry you through most of the star map. The only point that it will not carry you through is going to be here on Mars when you get to like War. Yes, when you get to War and you find Lieutenant Lech Krill. Here he has a weak spot that you're going to need to shoot with a fast-firing weapon, probably your Bratton or your Lado. Then you can kill him with your Skana. And when you do that, you'll be able to, go to the Phobos Junction when you defeat, or no, you can just go to the Phobos Junction immediately. I would actually recommend you do this before you hit up War so you can go to Ceres, mostly for the fact that you will get this quest called Stolen Dreams. Stolen Dreams will unlock a person by the end of it called Maru. And when you head to Maru's Bazaar, you're going to be able to talk to her and tell her you want an Ayatan sculpture. Now, an Ayatan sculpture or Ayatan sculpture will enable you to more quickly gain Endo. So these two, you'll be able to socket with these little Ayatan stars that you'll find around the world and increase the amount of Endo you gain. So as you see, it went from about 600 to 1000, 1050 to 1600, and then you just click and drag to find the other slots. And from 1600 to 2125, and install again to 2700. As you can see here, this is a Nightwave mission, and it completed when we finished it. And once you unlock Maru, you can visit her quickly down here. And that will really increase your Endo gains, so I would recommend you go do that as soon as you can.
Operator? Did they anger you in some way?
I would also recommend, once you find a planet that you can clear easily, I would recommend clearing all of it. Because when you do, you'll unlock these nightmare missions. These are harder missions with a effect on them. For this one, it's Nightmare Death Detonation mode, so when an enemy dies, it will detonate on death. But it will unlock mods called Nightmare mods. They aren't any particular different than regular mods, but what they do is that they are stronger and have a secondary effect most of the time. Armored Agility is a Nightmare mod, so it increases your armor as well as your sprint speed. So it's like a Rush as well as a Steel Fiber. It's not as strong as either of them, but it does increase both of them at the same time for only one mod slot. There are a lot of Nightmare mods that you're going to want. I don't have all of them because I've only cleared 2 planets. But they refresh about every day or so, maybe every couple of hours. But you're going to want to farm them because they're going to drop incredibly good mods that you're going to want on most of your builds. The second thing that you're going to do is, once you've cleared all of this and you cleared Ward and everything, is you're going to head to Deimos and you're going to go here. This is where you're going to farm corrupted mods. Corrupted mods like Transient Fortitude that you saw me use earlier give really great stat boosts to one stat, and then they drop another stat. So, like with Transient Fortitude, it increases its power strength for a reduction in duration, which is how I was able to get my 3.3 times damage multiplier. If I take this off, it drops to a 2.6. So farming these corrupted mods is going to be incredibly important. Now, here is a Prime mod. You saw a couple of these earlier. Prime mods come from a man named Baro Katir. I would not worry about him right now. You have much bigger things to worry about. So, getting this is when you hit Deimos. So you won't have Blood Rose at this point, and that's just what I named it. You don't have to name it that. You'll be here, and you'll get a mission called Heart of Deimos, and you're going to be on the Cambion Drift and Necrolisk. Necrolisk is the important part here, because when you're here, this is the easiest open world to farm. And most of that is because of how the standing works. Over here is a man named Father. He's named Vilcor for me. The people around here will gain names as you rank up. But Vilcor is able to build kit guns.
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I think Ballas said
and
that.
here you get the Vermisplicer,
Right. Well,
and you will require pieces and parts from this area. But these are very easy to get because all you have to do is break open a bunch of the chests that are in here, and almost always they will drop a boatload of ingredients for you to use. And then you'll be able to get this at the same time. And now, most of you will only have these two. When you unlock rank 2, I believe, of this faction, you will be able to get these two. I would recommend holding off until you can get to rank 2 because it should only take you 2 days. And I say 2 days because there's the standing cap, but when you hit rank 2 with these people, it'll only cost you 22,000 standing, I believe, as well as whatever you had left over from the first time you ranked up for 5,000. So it should only take you 2 days, possibly a third depending on your master rank standing. When you get this, this will get you that 28% status and crit chance that I had on my Burn Slicer. There is a bunch of other stuff here that is very good, especially the Ceto, or Seto, but that is a rank 5 weapon because of the parts required to rank 5.
Okay. I guess no. Keep safe.
And you don't even need to go to Fortuna really for him, but I would recommend that you obtain the equipment arsenal from Fortuna. There's a couple of things you're going to need to grab. First off is this Sunpoint Plasma Drill. It is the best drill in the game and available for 2,500 standing from Fortuna. Same with the Trank Rifle. It tranks stuff. Go for it. These are from Cetus. Just grab fishing spears, honestly. They'll help you. You will also gain this from Fortuna. It is the quickest way to move around until you are able to unlock an Arcwing launcher. I myself do not have it because of something I'll show you now. So while you're doing all this, you're kind of just running through all these areas. You're going to want to, this is the only area I would say I want you to farm, and by farm, all I want you to do is fully clear out the map. The reason for this is that it will get you enough resources in order to fully do everything that you're going to need to do later on. You're also going to want to do the same kind of at the beginning area of Venus, because not only will this get you resources, it will also have the potential to get you more of the Ayatan sculptures, which means more endo, which means more mod upgrades. And once you've gone here, you'll go to Mars, you'll hit up Phobos. You might clear Phobos, so whatever. Going here is probably the easiest route to getting the Sergeant and killing him, and you'll be able to hit up Ceres. Now on Ceres, where is it Ceres? Yes, it is Ceres. You'll find a hijack mission. This is one of the more important reasons I recommend Mag. She has high shield count, which is incredibly important for hijack missions. Most people don't run these because they are very annoying and they don't really drop anything good. But the high shield count will allow you to do this almost effortlessly, as well as the fast deflection to regen your shields. And when you head to Jupiter, you'll be able to go to Europa eventually, which is where a second hijack mission occurs, if I can find it here. But you're going to need to do this in order to get to Baal, so you can go to the Void through this area. There's nothing important here, but you're going to need to clear this eventually. And when you go from Jupiter, you're going to hit up Saturn, and this is going to be the first area you are able to quote-unquote farm. And that's going to be on Helene, Saturn. Because it's a defense mission, but more importantly, the map tile set for the defense mission. Helene has a very close defense tile set, which your Polarize, your third ability, is going to be able to hit. This makes Mag incredibly good for farming, as even if you just have the maxed out 5-dot Intensify, you're going to be able to strip the armor from most enemies from waves 0 to 10. And even on waves 10 to 20, you're going to be able to strip most of the armor. So mag is our first quote-unquote farming frame when leveling up weaponry, as going to lean grants you a large chunk of XP. So you just bring in one weapon at a time, or 3 if you don't really care, and go public, and you're going to farm lean. And just to reiterate, this is how you go public. Ta-da. And you'll see how many open squads there are. Don't really worry about that, because even if you only bring one good weapon and the one weapon you're trying to level, you should be more than okay to farm this area at least to wave 5, even if you're not good. Second off, you're going to be able to go to Uranus, you're going to be able to get your Natah quest and your second dream. I would recommend just start the second dream here the second you get to Neptune, because when you finish it, and it's not exactly difficult, you will be able to unlock this Broken War. The Broken War already comes with an Orokin Catalyst in it, and because we already have Helene Saturn unlocked, you'll be able to level this incredibly quickly. Now, you won't have all of these mods, probably not. You might. Drifting Contact is a nightmare mod, and it's one of the better combo duration increase mods out there. Blood Rush and Carnus Mandible both come from Deimos. Blood Rush as a bounty reward, and Carnus Mandible just as a mod that you get when killing enemies. All the other mods are very common mods that should drop for you. If you don't have them, don't worry. While they're all good, they are not necessary in order to deal damage. But as you can see, even with the Orokin Catalyst, even if the only thing you need on this is the Iron Phoenix, that gets you just enough mod capacity to max out everything. Blood Rush, I would recommend maxing out. The 40% crit chance that stacks with your combo multiplier is incredible. It enables you to easily deal orange crits, and if you get high enough, red crits. And with our 4.2 times crit multiplier, thanks to Organ Shatter, we deal very nice damage. So that would be everything to easily get you to second dream, and by that point, you should easily be able to hit up the War Within. So thank you for watching, and have a good day.